All right. Well, hello out there, everyone in Twitch land this evening. We've got a Cadillac Cup top four Jets of Time race in store. I am one free Fitz, and I'll be calling this race along with my commentary partner, Kiyu Ketsuki. What do we on store for us today?
We're doing great. We've got two great runners between AzureCale and Korenth in the top four, and we're dealing with a standard race flags of a boss randomizer, item randomizer, and also we're going to deal with the hard item shops, which are going to reduce your amount of gold, in addition to having kind of randomized items for healing as well. But we're going to be dropping the gate relatively soon for these runners so they can get started. Hopefully we can get started right on time today. But I don't know about you, but let's see who we can who's going to win here, because this is an important one between best of three.
Yeah, that's a great point. We are in that best of three mode, and this is their first matchup out of that three, correct? No. I think the first match out of a best of three, everyone kind of does, what they're comfortable with, and then we see in match two is where the weird, obscure strategies come out.
I mean, these two runners are well known. They've been repeated makers of near top end on all of the tournaments that I've been in. So I am not surprised to see these two here. For me personally, I just really want to see some weird items make a play here. I'm looking forward to seeing maybe a Wonder Moon, or a Crisis Sword. Lots of fun stuff today.
Yeah, I want to see. Love to see a fast early go mode. I'd love to see my ancestor Fritz get saved at least once, and Golem boss early for sure. Looks like we're off now.
Already love this party comp. We get Best Grill and Robo.
Yeah, we really got the power of science duo here. Big magic, AoE heal, and hard punches.
So ideally looking just for something better than that Timnard to start off with, and hopefully some good textured Luca. But Luca being, in my opinion, the best character in the game, due to her ability to basically pair with pretty much any character in the game outside of like Magus. So, and even with Magus, she has Dark Eternal when with Marley, and Omega Flare when paired with Robo. So we may see some powerful rock play as well with this kind of comp.
Yeah, indeed, and we're going to see our runners here kind of take their own individual path to getting some loot, getting some levels, buying some groceries, and then when they're ready, going into their first key item checks. So in Jets of Time, in order to save the day, we have three different ways to do that. We can get the sword pieces, one of my favorite characters, Frog, head through Magus Castle to end up in Ocean Palace and fight Lavos. We can find the Gate Key, the Dreamstone, and the Ruby Knife, take a trip to Prehistory, and go through the Tyranno Lair, and that will get us to Ocean Palace as well, where we'll fight Lavos at the end. And then finally, if we get the pendant, the clone, and the Chrono trigger, we can climb Dex Peak, summon the Omen, and go through that to fight Zeal at the end. Kiyu, I see both of our runners did a desert dip down there. Do we see any good early items?
No, other than a Dark Saber, that's the only thing I saw. So money at the point, but we did see both runners steal the boss chest, which is always a nice skip to see. They stole the quote-unquote Red Knight boss chest in the bottom of the desert. That's a little bit tricky for a lot of the newer runners, but both of these runners, being as experienced as they are, just cleared straight through it.
Great observation, and that's one I've just figured out myself recently. It does seem scary, but I think once I got the hang of Prism Shard and stop creeping over there, I got more confident to go get it.
Well, we already decided at the snail shop. We saw the one item we don't like seeing there, Prism Shard, because we like to leave trash at home.
I think I was catching up on race 2, and I know that's where the Prism Shard was. I think we generally don't like to see that early because we have to have a character Marl in order to cash it in and do the check, which we haven't seen yet, so that's definitely going to be a fade until later. The pendant is at the Carpenter check. What does that do for us?
Well, that unlocks the future right off the bat. With this particular party comp, I don't think they're going to immediately go for it. You definitely want at least a better fist before you try to take that. In my opinion, just because you're not going to be able to use typically a blue mage or something to clean that out. Typically, I like the early play for the gamble when you're able to get something like an early Ice 2, Water 2 from your blue mages, and or have a Magus in 4 slot.
And that pendant we can take to the castle, go on trial, fight a tank as we escape from prison, which that means we will get to see if Fritz gets saved or not, at least once. And then once we get to the future, the pendant is charged up. We can open the sealed chest with it. We have the checks in the future that we can go to, and additionally, it does open up. It can open up Mount Woe for us if we go through the factory to unlock the end of time and magic.
Well, we're already seeing AzureCale grab the 600 power tab in Sun Palace, which is always a neat find. The other thing that we learned is Flare was one of the first 2 techs for Luca, so that's already great news. And Uzi Punch was for Robo, so lots of great techs to start off with. The things that you're really worried about also looks like Luca's got Fire 2 in slot 3, so that's huge.
Yeah, that says to me, I would be thinking, do I need to unlock magic after seeing those couple of starting techs? Robo obviously not requiring it. Having Uzi Punch early, I don't feel like I really need tech points that bad early, and it's more, where am I getting levels? Where can I find better gear? Where can I find that third character that I'm gonna keep here? Chat saying if we found Ayla here, that would be just go time in terms of characters. I would agree with that.
Fully agree. You get Ayla, you get Magus here, you're just going.
I mean, with these two, really, interesting. I would say anyone here.
Sir actually appearing in this game.
Sir Chrono practicing his swordsmanship. Yeah, what would you think about kind of getting Chrono here as your third?
Well, the way I see it is you've got 2 options here. It really depends on his tech list that he particularly learns. Right now, he's basically relegated to a item thrower to me, in my opinion. With those finds of Robo and whatnot, he's workable for any third character because, again, he's just an alchemist to me at this point. But like any character is good. The advantage of having Chrono is you get a really fast alchemist. It's not like you found Marl here. So with Team Slowpoke, that's kind of a little tougher sell.
Yeah, that's a good point. These two are low speed, so those speed tabs are going to be needed and not enough to go around. I saw we had we already found that Dark Saber in the desert. Chrono is weapon dependent, and so without finding a good sword, it can be, I agree he might be a bit of an alchemist. I think we saw in what was it, Aku and Smirk's race a week or so ago, they both had Chronos with wood swords going into their final dungeon. So it's not, a hard obstacle. It's just we would like to see something good pretty early on.
Yeah, and both runners running through, grabbing the tabs in that back room, and then going to get the bromide. AzureCale is noping out of Cathedral, and I do like that play because Cathedral can eat up a large amount of time, actually. Completing a full Cathedral can really, depending on who you get there, take anywhere up to another 5 to 10 minutes, just depending on how bad the fight at the back is.
Mm-hmm. And when I was learning this rando early, I would always go to the back of the Cathedral. But I think as I started watching more runners, I noticed that it was like, a lot of people don't, and it does save that time. I have gotten in the habit of peeking the burrow before I have to make that decision, so that I have a little bit more information, so that would help me potentially. Like if I saw like a marl or a frog in the burrow, I don't have to like look for them to cash in that pendant or prism shard or a Magus Council Go mode. I didn't see what was on the bridge, but I saw a reset.
It was Ruby Knife, so good information. One of the 3 pieces for prehistoric Go mode, along with the Dreamstone and the Gate Key. But at this point, it's just more of an information play.
Yeah, indeed. And so with kind of their items that they have right now, Korenth has an extra option available to them with the pendant, but I think Hecarim is a popular opening check. With our heavy magic user, generally we can get through it pretty fast, get a lot of experience, get a lot of tech points. We do have Robo, so the desert is open as a spot we can go to.
Yeah,
and
but at level 5, I just don't think you'd probably do it.
Very scary, and we don't really have a good way to grind necessarily the monsters there before fighting that boss. Then Denadoro, which it does take a few minutes, but we can usually run through it pretty quickly. There's a rock there that could have an incredible effect on it, thanks to the gear rando. But yeah, we'll see kind of where, after both bridge checks here, where they end up going for their next checks.
So Korenth also nips out of the Ruby Knife. I don't know. At that point, I'm like, I kind of like taking it. You have Flare, so anything you fight on the bridge is just going to give you a lot of the experience. And we have seen in the past that, Aussies and Aussies minions typically drop pretty decent stuff. So, I don't know. I do like the bridge play here. That is an option. Another option is the Hecarim play that we saw from AzureCale. What he did is he grabbed the 2 tabs that Korenth grabbed earlier from the Magus village, the speed tab and a magic tab, and then he immediately went into the Hecarim's cave after eating the cake to restore his health and TP.
Yeah, cake is great. In this game, the cake is true, and it restores our hit points and magic points. Every runner has their different kind of preference of when they go and eat the cake. It's always just interesting to see kind of at what point different people take that. Yeah, I think Hecarim makes sense. I agree with you on the bridge. I like doing that with this party because I feel like we can get through it. It is a go item, and I'll never say no to some decent levels before I hit my first real check.
I mean, there is an old meme about Hecarim's cave, and let's just say I'm not going to invoke it quite yet, but the once and forever king may make an appearance in this place regularly.
Korenth's thinking about where to go here. Nice skip. So, in Jets, there are definitely encounters we can choose not to take. And AzureCale showing off that if you hug that top edge, coming down the stairs there. Can avoid that first temporite fight.
Looks like ethers are also 11 today, so that's good news because with flare early on, you're going to be using a lot of ethers, and getting it like an 8 or a 9 on your ethers really makes it annoying.
Yeah, those were all of our healing items are gonna pull a range, and so definitely seeing some of that in effect. That includes revives can raise for less than 50, but more than 50, and our lapis can be an MP restored instead.
The other beautiful thing is we learned that Chrono learned Confuse in one of his first 3 as well, so this may be a just skip Magic Seed. Because now you can use Fire Sword 2 instead of using Flare and Uzi Punch typically.
We got some bats up here. Nice, showing off an excellent bat skip.
Oof. Korenth running into some controller issues. Looks like he probably got everything running again, but that's always rough when your hardware fails on you.
Yeah, it can happen from time to time. I've had I would learn to close everything before I try to play, because sometimes Steam will have some weird controller settings where the R button gets mapped to the Alt key, I've noticed. So it happens from time to time, and it's always interesting in a race when it happens. I think I've seen some runners, run into an early problem and be able to really focus in after that, where it turns into kind of a positive. So top runner, that's kind of what I expect to see whenever there's a controller adversity,
But we're seeing the early play to go straight into the prison from Korenth. So if there's not much here, we could see a slight gap develop between Korenth and AzureCale. Now, with those extra levels from this particular place, if Azure has a successful run of Hekrans, you can typically see that catch up back on the Dragon Tank, because Dragon Tank is kind of a grindy fight.
Yeah, indeed. And interesting, we're seeing Luca, the one going to jail.
Oh goodness, why did I invoke the Dalton again? Like, once and forever king, he makes an appearance.
Yeah, let's see. This is not a super high hit point spot. That's the good news. How much is this hit doing? Ooh, okay. 2 of those will get the job done.
Yeah, you gotta still get some decent roll from it. But the good news is, yeah, you should be able to get that done. And the Uzi Punch giving you the extra damage at this point. I don't remember exactly how much Dalton has here, but another Fire Sword 2 should probably do it.
Yeah, I think we're looking at 2,100. And the other crucial question, where it's the hard mode items, so ethers are more expensive, and we know that if we save Fritz, we have Chrono. That means we can get 5 mid ethers from a grateful, close personal friend of mine.
AzureCale gets through the Dalton fight, about 2,000 health there, so using a bit of flare, getting a good roll, and having the good setup from having the Uzi Punch done first. So that is always nice to see.
And now we got some Metal Gear Luca going on. Exclamation point spotted. Takes down the guard. What does the cave get us? A clone. So that puts AzureCale 1 egg away from go mode.
Korenth rescuing your ancestor, which is always nice to see.
Yes. I feel like I'm more tethered to this timeline every time. It reaffirms my existence. So appreciated. Yeah. We also got a pet cat. I know that's controversial. There are some that don't believe in petting the cat, but it's everyone's choice. Pet the cat or nah.
Save the frames. Ignore the demon beast.
It does take a little bit of extra time. Like, it can't be denied. And we're seeing Chrono heading to jail for possession of the pendant. Korenth is about to get busted out. Yeah, I mean, Aku is correct in chat that Fritz is actually even more frames, but unlike petting the cat, which just comes with a spiritual reward, if you will, the saving Fritz has a tangible in-game reward.
I mean, 10 ethers is not something to sneeze at. It really does a lot of work, especially on an expensive seed like this one. Now, we could see some potential here of a blitz-style approach, which is just using Flare, Uzi Punch, and Confuse to try and just burn everything down all at once.
Yeah, Dragon Tank, with those taxes, I don't think this is a super scary fight necessarily. And Cyclone for the head. Bombs, the power of science. Flare exploding the rest of it. Probably a Uzi Punch in the face. It is important to remember to go get the reward from saving Fritz. I forget it about half of the time, I would say, in my runs.
Yeah, that is definitely something to be worried about, just forgetting that. The other advantage of doing this early future check is you get a potentially fourth character in the Protodome. Not really needed in this case, in my opinion, with this comp, but I never say no to getting a good Ayla. Plus, finding Frog at this point is still useful because it just makes me have a little bit more peace of mind.
Yeah, definitely. Not having Frog is always like, oh, that means I don't have a go mode available, and that's never the best feeling. But that being said, like, and Korenth doesn't have the clone in hand yet, so their logic is probably going to be a little bit different in the future. I just love getting those juicy sealed chests and sealed door items early. Those can really help propel a team through like the mid part of a seed. And maybe, depending on what I found, would convince me to go to Mount Woe, or even like, I guess they have Genodome available to them as another high end game dungeon with a lot of experience, tech points, and gear.
Yeah, but if you're ever going Genodome, you are really playing your opponent, is the way I describe it. It's notably the longest dungeon in the game. It does have a lot of the experience into it, but you are definitely making a maneuver there for one key item check. But yeah, Mermaid Cap and Mega Blast from the Dragon Tank is very nice to find. Mermaid Cap giving you some more protection against water. Also one of the strongest armor items for the headpieces, wearable by any character.
Yeah, that's a great thing to see. If it's got some pluses on it, it's even better. But one of our Go mode bosses, Zeal, loves to, blast water magic everywhere. So in my head, I'm always like, okay, that's good to have.
But the other thing is, like, at this point, we have a total of, let's see, we have 4 dungeons available currently. They'd be the Desert, Denadoro, sorry, 5 dungeons. Desert, Denadoro, the Son of a Sun location, Sun Palace, Aris Dome, and Genodome. So there's still a lot of just divergence that we could run into. The other thing is we haven't really seen a lot of the fetch quests. We've seen only the one so far at Snail Shop. We can always run in and find the pop somewhere. We can always find one of the pieces of sword, the Grand Leon, the Hero Medal, or my favorite, the Pretty Curve Robo Ribbon.
Yeah, and welcome SpeedGaming 2 with the raid. We're right in progress for our top 4 Cadillac Cup race. Our racers are, I mean, really neck and neck right now. And both of them are heading to the desolate future. We're seeing a Protodome peak. I guess that character is going to be level 15.
It is level 15, but I did not see a save by Korenth on the outside, and I always get worried whenever you're entering Protodome.
Yeah, there can be some issues from time to time. I think a lot of them then aren't there anymore, but it's, I think, still wise to get in here. Don't go into the menu at all. Whoa, I didn't even know that was... Okay, I learned something there. It looks like you can scooch the bottom edge and avoid the second robot fight.
Yeah, all you have to do is just walk it. So as long as you walk it before you get to the 2 bridges, walk in between the bridges, you can totally do that. Korenth is actually switching in a character in the middle of Protodome.
Okay. That's bold.
That is a bold play, considering I don't think he's saved since before Dragon Tank. So that was a bold play.
Yeah, we're really flying close to the sun. Pays off 100%. I don't think I saw Dino Tail on the tech list. That was the only thing I caught. Maybe a Rolo kick.
I mean, this is team you don't need magic, so I don't think Korenth's going to do magic. The only way that you typically do magic in this case is if you really want to go woe mode. But that, because that's your only entrance into woe currently, is you have to do factory.
Yeah. Great point. And yeah, with this team, it's more of like, if I think I didn't see triple kick on Ayla's list, I would be thinking, we're going to get a lot of tech points really fast.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, with Fire 2, you know that you can unlock Blaze Kick, and you can also unlock, in my opinion, one of the best techs in the game, Firewhirl, with Ayla and Luca. Bypasses defenses of anything that doesn't absorb fire or resist fire completely. So it is nice.
Yeah, and like, oh, we're seeing tabs. A good thing with if we're going Firewhirl would be throwing our magic tabs on Ayla to really jump the damage up. Got a Nizbil 1? 2.
They actually have the same palette, so that's quite all right. You can't really do much about that one, but we don't have any sort of lightning damage right now, because I don't think Chrono had any either. I know he has Confuse and he has Cyclone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of flares and a lot of throwing ethers at Luca to do flares here.
I mean, it's definitely a strategy, and it's a very effective one.
Yeah, you noted this earlier, and I think this is a good time to kind of call back of, like, if those ethers had rolled, 9s or 8s, it would eventually mean Luca could not flare every turn, and this fight would be very different, I think, if that was the case.
AzureCale also grabbing the Protodome, grabbing Ayla out of that. So this is definitely one of my favorite comps. You basically have a very Swiss Army knife Robo. He's kind of jack of all trades, great at everything. He's a little slow. That's all you have to worry about. Then you have the raw power of Luca and Ayla, the best team in the game, in my opinion, for a duo. Just because they're so versatile, they don't need to go get any sort of items at that point. They're not item dependent at all. With Ayla having her fist as her only weapon. So, and the thing is, with this item randomizer, sometimes Ayla actually has a good fist as well. You can roll bonuses on that fist as well.
Yeah, and I saw a big hand plus that got dropped from Nisbel 2 there.
That's I think the 5th or 6th best weapon for Robo, so that's a good find. And anything's better than a 10 arm though.
Yeah, on AzureCale side, we saw them dip into Sun Palace, see that it was Red Knight, and they went nah, bounce out of there, and are also heading down to fight their own dinosaur in the future.
Let's see. Now, Korenth is rapidly approaching the last sealed door in the future, being able to get a couple more items, while AzureCale is starting off with his fight of Nisbel 2, doing some decent damage with that Fire 2. I just don't think you're going to be wanting to spam it, because every time that you hit Nisbel with a non-lightning attack, he gets more and more defense, so it means it's going to slightly reduce any damage that you're doing, and especially at these low levels, it's a little bit tougher. Getting a sight gap plus though, that's always a nice find.
Yeah, I saw another arm plus, a Kaiser arm plus as well.
That is the 4th best arm in the game. Kaiser arm is basically the speed limit that I say that I'm looking for Robo, so that's always a great find, and with the plus, you're going to have an additional effect on it.
Shout out to the bike racing champions.
Now, notable that this tournament, the top 3 finishers, I believe, are going to be taking that spot now, because it is the full tournament, and that's when I believe that last one got set up. So,
Yeah, that's a really cool thing. I know the first time I played that and I saw it, I was like, wow, it just blew my mind. I don't know why. I just really get a kick out of it every single time.
like we say before, we love everyone in the community, and it kind of allows the dev teams to show off their ability to get creative and kind of give a shout out to those who are won the tournament in the past. So,
Yeah, and I think Nisbel 2 goes down on AzureCale's side. They threw a shield on Luca, which is a pretty good call. She's got the worst physical defense, and that's kind of what that beefy dinosaur does, is hit with physical damage. So helping Luca stay up, and they'll be getting their loot room and own reward shortly. Oh, that Kaiser arm speed +2.
but yeah, Kaiser arm with +2 speed that's actually fantastic. That's really like at that point you could consider not switching in like a Giga arm or a Terra arm. So that 2 speed is life affirming. It is so good.
Got another Red Knight appearance. Nopes out of that. That is a very high hit point spot. It would be divided between the top and the bottom, but they're still going to have over 3,000 hit points. And so I don't think our runners quite have enough power to do it fast. That can be a tough call to make, where it's like, I could beat this, but it would be really slow. Should I do it now or come back later?
The other issue is, again, you don't have any water magic right now, so you're also dealing with the high evade, which is always a worry.
Yeah, maybe Dino Tail strats. So Korenth heading through Hecarim, which we know Azure's already done. We know the clone is there at the end after getting the Grand Leon for our trip down Aristone. I wonder where Azure will head next. Are the signals pointing, let's go to Geno now? Knowing that they've already checked Xenon, and Snail Stop was the Prism Shard, the bridge was the Ruby Knife. So we could go Desert, we could go Denadoro, or Geno. are really those options that are on the table. How would you choose between those?
Well, if I was playing one of these two people, I would immediately drop in a Geno because that would be very much in my style of playing the runner, not the seed. But I think that AzureCale will most likely do. I would definitely take a look at Desert. You've already ran through there, so you've got through all the fights because you did the dip early, so you can at least check what's there. So I think what will happen is AzureCale will go check who's in Desert, maybe take that fight. If not, just go straight to Deno.
Yeah, it's partly why I love this game is there's often no wrong answers, or at least at the time, they don't seem wrong. It's just kind of like trying to read the logic, thinking about, do I need experience? Do I need loot? That would influence my choice. Burrow is still unchecked. We have not seen that from either runner. Getting a Desert Peak here. And I will point out, we could unlock Factory and go to WoW. That would be the play that no one would expect with this party comp and techs.
I did think about it. Like, it's not that slow of a check, but it's not that fast because you don't have lightning. So it's not going to be able to clear very quickly because I don't think we have shock yet.
Yeah, Terror Arm Plus and an Immune Helm on Korenth's side. 4x crit damage? That's only going to matter on regular punches, right?
Yes.
And I see chat asking about an Immune Helm, asking if that's a haste helm that just has status protection. And I believe that is the case.
That would make sense to me. Yes, because the haste helm gets renamed.
The Flea original recipe on AzureCale's side.
Stairs intensify. At you specifically for that one.
That's
I know that one was really quite easy and quite Flea.
We're looking at, for that spot, 4,500 Flea hit points, and when they get under half, they will start countering with the stare. You know, as mentioned, it hits pretty hard always, no matter where they are.
Yeah, it definitely bugs a lot of runners, and it can really mess you up, especially in this place because it's going to be a much higher return damage. With Winds of Chaos, that's going to put a Chaos on Robo, and Robo is the first one to come up, so Robo could kill a character here.
Yeah, that's the worst thing that they could have done too. Was okay.
That was actually the worst thing it could have done, actually, because it could have countered and wiped the party at that point.
Right, that I've had that happen a couple of times, and yeah, confused against Flea is bad.
But getting the kill there, oh, that is huge for AzureCale. Azure is through the desert at this point. Korenth finishing up Dalton. But yeah, we're seeing a very large sync up at this point because we saw how quick that check is. Like, Flea is, kind of scary. If you can avoid some of the counters, you're going to be fine. But it is an incredibly fast check. So you don't really get a lot of time from doing it unless it's a particularly nasty fight.
Yeah, it's worth a pretty nice chunk of experience and tech points. And I did see chat pointed out with Flea, if we let one of our party members die, then we don't get the counters anymore. So sometimes the thing to do after a bad stare is single target heal whoever's up and keep fighting. Which I always forget.
Now, the beautiful thing is this shop will always sell the pieces, and the pieces are doing regular healing today, which is nice.
Yeah.
But we don't know exactly how much it was for healing, though.
I also saw another plus arm. It's a magma arm, so they're not going to buy it, but it just seems like this gear rando was the robo arm. seed.
I mean, you have Robo, so the worst thing you can do is run into a seed where you're just running around with a wooden stick on Chrono the entire time.
Oh, a silver stud. Very nice.
Yes, you are correct. It is Lapis, but I always I put my own flair on a lot of items in the game, so that's on me.
Yeah, that's the advantage of playing a game that isn't voice acted, is we get to play around with the pronunciation a lot more. All right, let's see what we get. The jerky is the reward.
I'd be salty about that find.
Well, we can turn that in. We can get a key item. We have the pendant, so if we haven't been there already, then, we can pick up some chests. But, yeah, not the egg we were looking for if we were in the runner's shoes there.
Well, it is, like we said, it is this really open seed. There are some plays you can make, some bold plays. Going through the factory to go to Mount Woe, you could also go through Genodome. So we have some bold plays that can be made, and you still have the safe approach of Danadoro still on the menu.
Nothing really that great in those first chests. On AzureCale's side, as we get the flea fight going on. Flea do. And let's see what the wonder shot.
Oh goodness, it's the blunder shot.
Power tab. Load vest. Not great, but some of those things sell for money, which we always want in hard items, so.
Azure going to the future. Is he going low? Or is he going Geno? Oh goodness.
Yeah.
Geno, we're seeing Geno on the board today. Oh yes. Oh, let's get hyped. One of my favorite dungeons. Nobody ever does it unless you're playing against a hard runner. I love this play by Azure. It is definitely one of the last places you ever want to check in the seed. If you're playing against a character and you find something super important, that's just going to send your gap massively.
it's Geno. It's pronounced however anyone wants to say it, but that's a funny way to pronounce it. So yeah, we're heading in on the conveyor belt. Gonna get a bunch of fights here. I think it's a good play. I like Woe myself. That's my Genodome, the place I'm always looking to go early, and so I don't go to Genodome as much because I think it's rare to go to both. In a seed, although I know I win one of the races recently. We saw that, so it's not unheard of. Do we think we're gonna see? Actually, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see a conveyor belt skip here, which is a very difficult, high skill skip that saves a lot of time in here.
Yes, Genoa Salami Dome. So it is quite the meaty play.
I wonder what our speed is going into here, because the one thing in here that is a big problem are these laser guards we'll see as we get further back. They're very fast. They like to shoot each other and explode.
The other thing is, I don't understand. The big thing is you don't need to use Flare here. Fire 2 should do enough damage at your levels here. They only have about 600 and 650 health.
Yeah, they did pick up that silver stud, though, which means we got discount flares of 10 instead of 20. But I could see the conservation. I don't think they've picked up their mid-ethers yet, either.
Neither runner did, I believe, so
maybe in the back of the head it's like, okay, I'll just flare. I think if I wasn't sure if Fire 2 would do it, I would default to Flare. But yeah, very good point. Now we're setting up. Healing up. Setting up for the skip. There's definitely a few things that a runner has to do to get ready for it. I have like on my paper skip sheet that I use to remind myself there's like 8 steps for this. Gotta go take out some robots, flip some switches, open some doors, don't open some doors, and then run as fast as we can. So Kia, you loved the Geno play. We're seeing Korenth head to Denadoro. How do you feel about running up the nice mountains?
I mean, the thing is, like, Denador is a slower dungeon. It is a longer dungeon in the game. Even if you get all the skips, it's still going to take you a while to climb the thing. Good news is after this point, we've got enough levels that we are not really worried who's the boss here. Making the early play and getting completely stuck in Deno really sucked. But with AzureCale doing the Genodome, I like that play. I would definitely love making the play of going to Genodome or going to Factory just to unlock more checks. Because I know that if I'm doing this, it may be a time sink. But if I find something really good here, the other runner either has to get it or I'm just going to be at an advantage.
Yeah, and I think magic tabs must be only +1. We saw running by. We're not talking about the nice mountains today. Oh, they're +2.
Yep, magic tabs are +2 in the seed, so they are very nice this seed.
Going on Robo to help boost that heal beam. Healing. Blue Male's got +6 power. Got a couple of those. The gear is looking really good on Korenth's side. And we were going to see this. Oh, not yet. Getting ready to do the skip still on AzureCale's side.
You still have to unlock the door. So that is the big thing whenever you're doing the skip here. You definitely need the door open when you're doing it because you really only have about 7 frames, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say it's 30 frames per second here as opposed to 60, but again, I'm going vaguely off the back of my head here.
Yeah, and I believe that I think it was AzureCale actually. They forgot to flip that last switch, had the execution, and then did it again perfectly the second time after flipping the switch. So not surprised to see that they pulled it off. Now for the harder part is getting the robot to play nice.
I mean, the Roombot's going to be the Roombot, but the good news is you can always just lock it up whenever you get it to a point past that last set of pegs. Go grab the speed tab and pop goes the weasel. He's magically over here. Ooh, didn't set it up quite right. He's gonna. Oh wait. Oh yeah, that's right. You can actually just. Yep. I forgot you can wall glitch him through.
This is news. This is new to me.
And the other thing is you're seeing AzureCale do a little bit of movement down there because it basically treats it like a 4th character. So you do like little quick circles where you want him to be.
Incredible. Yeah, always learning something doing commentary. Getting to watch the racers closely as we see Mother Brain hiding in a cave here.
Mother Brian. Well, the good news is that's not that bad. Just got to be careful not to flare immediately.
Yeah, if this was a boss that I saw in my first check, I would be very upset. I think that's always a risk sometimes in boss rando going here early and running into a bad boss is like the time commitment of running all the way up.
We're also seeing some Dino Tail strats since Ayla went down during one of those earlier guard fights, just leaving Ayla at 1 health, using Dino Tail because it's a very fast character. She's going to get it off before those guards typically. Good use there.
Yeah, really answering that question earlier of how to deal with the laser guards. Just trashing that technology with the power of prehistory.
I would say fluffing tails, but you know, big enthusiast of the Ayla here. Showing off that Dino Tail does still take 15 MP, getting that last bit of ether, using it and setting it up before this final light fight. We also see on Korenth's side wrapping up this fight for Mother Brian.
Yep,
And
the breakdown. Yeah, and we'll see who is occupying Mother Brain's home here shortly. I would love to see Massa Immune, the full like house swap situation, but
well, as Chad asked, is this boss randomizer? Yes, it is, and based off of where the bosses spawn, is going to have a relative amount of hit points. So, like earlier in quote unquote easier checks, we'll have easier bosses. We've got Golem here, which is a nice one because we have fire damage, so we can do the old Golem Tango. I don't think we have Boogie at this point, so we can't see stop strats, unfortunately, but...
So Gate Key is our Danadoro reward. That's really opening things up for Korenth. I see Chad asking, to finish a seed, we got to get some of the go modes. Do a quick rundown real quick. The sword pieces plus frog is one of them. That'll take us to Magus Castle. And then Ocean Palace. The pendants, the clone, and the chrono trigger. Let us go up Death Peak and unlock Black Omen. And then the gate key, the Dreamstone, and the Ruby Knife. Let's go to Tyranno Lair. And then Ocean Palace. So that's what our runners are looking for right now. One thing about finding the gate key is that it lets us get a faster way to unlock magic, which I think is what we're seeing. Potentially, Korenth could be going to Woe after this.
Oh, that's rough here for the fine for AzureCale getting the Pretty Cure Robo.
Well, at least going to one of those long, high experience dungeon, they're level 25 now. So they should be going pretty fast through any check left in front of them in the game, and then likely not doing a lot of or any grinding. I wouldn't be mad to find the ribbon. I probably would have been upset to find like the moonstone there.
No! Oh, we gotta see the rare new find. Oh, that's a huge find by Korenth. And it is Frog in the Burrow, Vanilla Frog.
Interesting.
But you didn't fight the new. Oh, you gotta fight the new. I'm sad. But the thing is, AzureCale does have a 13 speed robo now, which is huge because you have the plus 2 speed on the Kaiser arm and the plus 3 speed from the Robo's ribbon. So that's actually pretty massive here, going into doing the Son of the Sun fight for Ret Knight. Fortunately, Ret Knight showing off why he's annoying, but we also do have the Wonder Shot. Wonder Shot from Luca, doing some good physical damage. Rare. And the thing is, Luca has high accuracy as well. Uh-oh.
Ooh.
He's enraged. We have an enraged one. Just a couple of inputs too fast.
I have definitely done that before. Just like queuing it up when you get that kill on the top. What that means is their defense is going to start going up every time they get hit. And it makes this a big pain.
Another Wonder Shot Impressive. Korenth going immediately into Ret Knight's lair and ignoring the secret tunnels. But more hits coming in. We're getting relatively close here. Ooh, gets a good hit again from the Wonder Shot. Wow. Lucky.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to make it through this. I saw Marshana in chat was asking about Geiki was at the top of Denadoro. That's where Korenth got that.
As Tekenu explaining, yes, AzureCale did target the top, but the top died before the second action went off, and then it just targeted the core. So, a Moonstone. Oh,
That's
is...
I feel like I spoke that into existence, so I'll take the blame for that being there. That's my bad.
So, your AzureCale, I definitely feel behind at this point. Both checks I made just ended up being complete waste of time for the most part. Now, Ribbon Rodent is nice, but it's definitely, you feel behind after you did Genodome. Anytime you do not get a Goma item from Genodome, that is something that really hurts you.
They're heading into the woods too. I imagine to also see who's there.
But as we can see, Korenth pretty much all the way done with Reptite Lair already. It's one of the fastest dungeons in the game, especially if you're not trying to grind out a secret tunnel, but it is an incredibly fast check. The other thing is AzureCale's probably going to go to do Denadoro at this point, and I dread this at this point. The other thing that Korenth does have open right now is Woe. So I think if he does not get go mode here, Korenth may either follow the fetch chain that potentially would come from this, or go straight to Woe.
Yeah, and I think chat raised like an interesting question. If we're AzureCale, we have the Moonstone, and we know where the Prism Shard is. What would make us go to the back of the cathedral and look for Marl? I mean, Marl could be on Dactyl, so it's like a 50-50 call. But with Prism Shard, Moonstone, they don't have access to prehistory yet. After they find the gate key, I wonder if that'll be factoring in a little bit of, I don't like these checks, but I have the pieces to get 2 key items from doing the trial.
Yeah, and Korenth does not have Moonstone currently. That was in the Son of Sun location. But yes, both runners may remember it's still on Snail Shop for the Prism Shard. But again, Korenth is about to wrap up this one. Should just be like 1 or 2 more hits.
Yeah, our spiky-haired, older Lavo spawn is not long for this world in this spot.
And this is kind of like another one of those mid-tier checks. It's not something that's super scary. It's easily clearable. They're going to have roughly around 4,000 health, 4,000, 5,000 health for most bosses here, except for multi-part bosses, obviously. So it's not that much rough. And when you're rocking, an ATB turn damage of, oh my god, that's a Dreamstone. That is
No.
Zeal
Ooh.
and Go. I'm sorry, Bridge and Go.
Yeah, very much. Because we know that they both checked the bridge. Korenth knows where it is. They are heading there immediately. This is interesting. I would say they don't have as much experience, having not done Genodome, so they might be in for a bit more grinding when they get into that final dungeon.
Take a look at levels. You're good anytime that you're plus 20. You're probably going to be fine. You may have a rough fight if you've got maybe 22. But the thing is, you also have one of the best grind spots already available. The grind spot in Reptite Lair is actually, Reptite Lair is actually really, really good. It has a lot of XP. If you're ever feeling low on levels, or if you're a little newer to running something like a Lost World, I recommend that spot. Very easy to use. But yeah, no Robin's Ribbon, less levels, but knowing you have Go mode, and it was the first Go mode that you got, I don't know, because Denadora was right at the beginning. You could have gotten this particular Go mode in 3 checks. That's how fast you could have gotten this Go mode. So I don't know how I'd feel as a runner, because like these are checks I could do right off the bat. I could have gotten all 3 parts pretty much 1, 2, 3. I'd feel behind at 1 hour in.
Yeah, that's fair. I see chat asking where the other kind of Go modes. Woe is still out there, so like our Chrono trigger could be there. The sword pieces are probably behind the sharded moonstone. I guess the pop is out there, and the metal. Those would lead to other checks that could have those Go items. But I wouldn't see AzureCale like heading for Woe now. Kind of given what you said of like, I'm still feeling behind. They don't have the Dreamstone yet either. They're probably hunting for that Chrono trigger right now.
Yeah, it's just a rough spot to be in. It's just all a choice of routing, playing your characters. Genodome is always a gamble. That's kind of why it's well known for that one, because of how long it takes. I always like it when it pays off, because it's always a fun thing to see Genodome. It's not often seen. But yeah, that's just rough. AzureCale is just demolished Mother Brian. So
yeah, they're very strong. Their gear is very good, and I don't think we're gonna see really anything. Golem boss on the bridge,
oh god, at this point,
very
that could ruin
threatening.
us.
Golem boss requires precision, timing, patience, and a little bit of luck to get through.
I think you also need a pencil, because you need to, defeat him with a pencil for some reason.
But for seriousness, they not a threat at all. It is possible just to wait it out. We always love to see them in any spot, but we do want the levels, so we usually beat them up instead of letting them run away.
It's true, yeah. Golem boss is typically a loot pinata. You're pretty much going to see a kill unless he rolls into a very, very high HP spot. It is the freest boss in the game. So it's definitely one that just gives you a sigh of relief whenever you see it, because it's like, oh, it's just free fight. But you were asking earlier, has anybody checked Fritz's shop afterwards? Korenth doing it, because Korenth is in Go mode, so...
Yeah, so exactly. They're probably doing their last bit of shopping. We might see them pop into the fair to get some shelter, some revives.
Yes, you do, Smirk. You need Chrono to actually get the 10 mid-ethers and that shop location to get Fritz's shop. It's just another idea to pitch around. Our random character to unlock Fritz's shop. But I don't think people would like that one.
Yeah, we have to figure out some way that you'd be able to know who it was.
I mean, it'd just be nice to do King's Trial with, good characters for a change.
Getting a free heal via the sweet water and prehistory before Korenth is heading into Chrono, while AzureCale It's also in prehistory. Heading down Reptile Lair.
He's trying to force it. Gave up. I thought we were going to see a secret tunnel. Sad.
And Reptile Lair is what gave us the Dreamstone. So it looks like we're going to see the same go mode here. AzureCale will have to finish this, and then I expect they will also be heading to the bridge. So we can start to get a little bit of sense of, you know, who's ahead or behind, at least in terms of where they are in their similar go mode.
So at this point, I'd probably say 7 to 10 minutes for AzureCale, just based off of where he is currently in Reptile Lair, and any grocery shopping that Azure needs to do. Korenth is in at 102.17, so that's going to be our kind of a big time to see. When in doubt, left, wait, and then left over, and you can get that skip very easily. Well done by Korenth. Showing off the other skip you can do right there. Nice and clean through that room. Some great execution here. Again, showing off all these skips nice and clean, nice and fast. Korenth just making blazing pace through this entire place. Unfortunately, this one is a right. It's the one that always gets you, because it's the one that is weird compared to Giant's Claw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't see Giant's Claw this run, but I always get them mixed up when I have to do them both in a race.
Wow. Just effortlessly doing these skips. I know Korenth practices a lot with certain save states loaded up so he can do all these executions over and over. A lot of people do that. But it's a beauty to watch him just destroy this for skips.
And we're seeing baby Lavos spawn and elder Lavos spawn about to be challenging our party simultaneously. Prehistory is just full of Lavos spawns somehow.
Yeah, somehow they beat Daddy here.
They must have been sent ahead.
So they're essentially Reddit.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, well, I don't think that either of these are going to give our runners much trouble here. Elder down. I will say I think we're seeing AzureCale, you know, fight through these bosses that we saw Korenth fight through a bit faster. So they might make up some ground heading into their go mode. But I think your observation of like 7-ish minutes behind is pretty fair right now. I think that might diminish as we see grinding potentially, and there's always the execution of getting through Tyranno Lair and Ocean Palace quickly.
That is a big point. AzureCale is already at 27. Like, that is a stop point for a lot of people on their grind. So this is easily catch-upable.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a lot of races in this tournament where it's not, you know, necessarily the runner that gets go mode first that ends up finishing first. Some of it can always be due to that level and gear difference, meaning that a runner is able to just blast through fights at a much higher rate of speed than the other runners. So yeah, I think this one is going to come down pretty close at the end, like many of our races have been in this tournament so far.
I mean, you have Blaze Kid, you got Uzi Punch, we have Dino Tail. Like, I can't think of a lot of things that you actually need at this point. AzureCale, I think, also forewent Magic as well to speed it up.
Yeah, I think sitting in their seat. And again, like you had that great observation earlier around like knowing where those go mode items were at. You know, like there's always that like voice in my head that's like, well, someone could have when Dinadoro like took the bridge fight the first time around and then went to Reptile Lair. Like that's not a crazy path for a racer to route necessarily.
Man.
So we're gonna start to see that pressing.
Watching Korenth do these skips, he just got straight through double Dino skip with an absolutely fantastic execution. We've seen pretty much no extra fights out of this entire run from Korenth outside of the mistake on the button press. So this is a clean run of Tyranno Lair.
Yeah, we'll see how this Tyranno fight unfolds. I don't think it presents too much of a challenge, but this is again where it's about really optimizing to have the fastest fight possible.
So we got a lightning dino today. Again, in randomizer, Black Tyranno doesn't always just use fire magic. He can use all of the elements, the fire, the water, the lightning, the dark magic, but can also use a non-elemental attack. So seeing lightning definitely makes me a lot less scared. Because normally you have something that you can deal with if you need to. Don't think Korenth has triple kick yet. That is a big difference between the two runners right now. That can make a decent amount of time up. Now, cat attack is a great attack. It's not used that often. It is actually probably the second best attack that you can use on Ayla here, because you can't Giants throw him. Sadly, toss is very much a odd tech. You have to know exactly how to use it. But cat attack does a surprising amount of damage for its amount of cost. So it's going to be mainly flares and Uzi punches here. But about a 728 difference between AzureCale entering Tyranno Lair here. Level difference, big difference here. Text difference, big difference. And at this point, I believe Black Tyranno has between 10k and 15k health here. So we're doing about, well, without healing, probably around 22 to 3k per run. This is going to be close. Really depends on how tanky Black Tyranno is here.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, that Robo Ribbon having that Blaze Kick, it's going to make those HP go down faster on AzureCale's side. Isn't the element of Black Tyranno randomized?
Yes, it is lightning today, because we saw a lightning bolt come from Black Tyranno.
We're seeing some of these same skips here. On the AzureCale side, hit the first outside section, hit the right switch. DBZ Tribute Dreamstone was in to do Reptide. Second door, oh, they also hit that one.
That one is, yeah, that's a fourth fight. So there is a fight that happened before that, which is a different encounter, but getting that one and through the fight, Korenth goes. That is huge because he was at 1 at that point. So a little lower on the scale for Black Tyranno. He probably did around 12k there. So
oh no, Lavos has arrived.
We get
And
another cutscene here, which is another great opportunity if you're new to playing a game like this. This game actually has built-in bathroom breaks. This is one of them. It's about a minute and 25-second cutscene as soon as you get the kill and you get through all the menuing. So that's always something to keep in mind if you need it. But AzureCale making absolute short work of his fights with Blaze Kick, doing 2.8. This is going to rapidly catch up.
yeah, we're in for, I think, another real close finish. I like that there's a couple of longer cutscenes that give runners the opportunity to get a break. Sometimes you can be seeing that cutscene at the 2-hour mark, when the logic is much convoluted and the modes are buried. So nice to have those opportunities. And so now we're gonna fly to the Skyway. Circle Buzz Mount Woe on the way, and do the final shopping. So what's the interesting thing about this new shop up here?
Well, there's 2 shops up here. The other thing that you can get in Kajar is a rock. I don't know if we'll see Korenth do it, but it is an opportunity to do it if you're looking to it. But this top one is typically the better shop here. And we have Mega Elixirs and Amulets. So those are 2 huge finds right now. That is always lovely to see.
Yeah, and we also have the there's a tab in the back room, kind of hidden in like a corner. I think it's a speed tab too. I recently learned about that one watching, I think, one of Batsy's races.
There are a total of 2 speed tabs and 2 magic tabs you can potentially get in the Dark Ages in these upper areas. It's just you typically never see the magic one because that requires you to get the backstretch. But the new fight in Hasa gives both a speed and a magic tab as well. So
let's see here, coming into Ocean Palace, Korenth will have to fight a boss on their way down. They're gonna have to run through Ocean Palace, go down the elevator, flip some switches, fight 2 more bosses at the same spot, and then face Lavos. We got 115 heading into the save before the throne.
getting regular Yakra here is always a relief. That's a relatively free fight. Yakra really doesn't do much more damage. He does more than he used to in boss randomizer, but it's still a face roll fight. But again, no Blaze Kick here. And Blaze Kick is making a huge amount of time difference here for AzureCale. So that Genodome, extra levels, extra attacks have been making up time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see kind of how that gap changes as we head to the end here.
Almost 3k from that first Blaze Kick for AzureCale. The difference also is Korenth did go to Fritz's shop to get the mid-ethers, where AzureCale did not blitz through it.
Yeah, that's just a lot of damage per turn. I don't think Tyranno's going to get to 3. Oh, they got to 3. Probably do it. And Yakra goes down on Korenth's side. Yep, 116. 40.
AzureCale also getting down Black Tyranno immediately afterwards. So, yeah, this is rapidly catching up.
Azure shave a couple minutes off of Korenth's lead going through Tyranno there. As Korenth heads into Ocean Palace here, I think the thing we'll be looking out for, big areas of potential time saves or losses, are going to be execution of the elevator fight and skipping the scout fights, the switches.
The other thing that I noted there with Korenth doing that save is Korenth is 24 right now. So Korenth will probably be taking a couple fights at the bare minimum. Typically, I've seen runners go down there at 27, which won't be that many fights comparatively, because that grind fight there gives a lot of EXP. It should probably be maybe a max of 5-6 fights, I believe. But I'm leaning more toward 4 to 5 fights here. So, and Korenth can stop whenever they want to. As a runner who's well known to grind themselves out of a race, that is something to always be worried about. I think their Ayla is 28 though.
Yeah, that's always the interesting thing about the end game here is, am I powerful enough? That question can be influenced by, do I feel ahead or behind right now? If I feel ahead, I might play it safer, take a couple of extra fights, just to ensure a clean finish. If I feel behind, I'm probably gonna, play riskier, hope for some luck, and take less grind fights. Everyone has a different magic number too. It depends on where you start counting from. Like I usually, I would also say like 27 coming into this fight is like my minimum. It could depend on what gear and techs, I think.
We also have a sigh of relief for AzureCale because these mages are dropping mid-ethers. Always a nice find to find. That's going to shave off some of that advantage from going to do the check for Fritz earlier that Korenth did, unfortunately. Because AzureCale is guaranteed, I believe, at least 3 to 4 going down through the elevator, so...
Those mid-ethers are 44 MP, so... Those are going to be a nice find. That's a great observation of another. It's those little differences between these two runners that I think will add up to who ends up getting the win at the end of the day.
So, for a quick wrap-up, AzureCale is going down there with extra levels and an extra Robo Driven, which is giving his Robo a base speed of 13 when it is equipped, along with the Kaiser Arm. Whereas Korenth is getting in here faster and is using some of this time for grinding, but AzureCale is going to make relatively swift work of this Yakra with one more Blaze Kick, and that should be all that roads. So we're looking at a race that is going to be, in my opinion, maybe a minute apart at this point with the catch-up.
Yeah, I think that's spot on. This is just going to get closer as both runners get closer too.
Korenth decides that's enough. 121 through first fight, going down.
And 121 also going into Ocean Palace. So we saw another minute shaved off.
AzureCale is probably less than 2 minutes away from Korenth at this point, if AzureCale does not take any sort of grinding.
Yeah, and I think this point they're not going to. I think we're going to see them avoid every fight that they don't need for the rest of the way here.
AzureCale is at least 30. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any grind. It's just going to be taking whatever he wants on the way down.
Not that Korenth spent that long grinding. It was probably 90 seconds to 2 minutes. But with a race this close, that's going to you know, close that gap even further. Let's see here.
The other thing that Azure has with those additional levels is Azure actually has 2 amulets right now and an elixir. So there's also item differences as well. So this is going to get really, really close. Really depends on, well, as we like to say, Lavos being Lavos.
Lavos does like to be Lavos and do Lavos things. And I think what I'll be interested in, you know, regardless of the outcome, this is a best of 3. And so I'll be curious how these 2 runners kind of watch this race and, you know, what they look to tweak or adapt going forward. Because I think, again, we're going to get that photo finish here. I'm going to take an elevator time, top and bottom. Running from that top fight, as we always like to say, those holes don't exist. You can run over them too. It's 123.30, hitting the switch for Korenth. So Kiyu, why can the elevator fight save or cost a runner time? What is it about this trip down that's so time intensive?
Well, it's a guaranteed 3 fights. They're always the same 3 fights every time. And the thing is, if you don't have like a great room clear that does non-elemental physical damage, that's kind of what you're looking for. In this case, Dino Tail being the one for these runners, another great option is Frog Splash. You also see typically in the vanilla speedrun a Falcon Head. But with these scouts, the 3rd fight, that's the one that's annoying. But in the 2nd fight, you get the first Scouter, which is immune to all but lightning damage for elemental. And in the 3rd fight, you get pairs of Scouters, one of each of the 3 base types, yellow, red, and blue, only immune to their all immune and absorbing outside of their original color. And since you typically have to do either solo hits, that's why you really like having Ayla here. For just a quick clear of all these fights rapidly, just tailing it through.
Yeah, because there's probably at least a minute difference between having something like Squash, Dino Tail, Max Cyclone, Black Hole, something that you can just bomb them down versus trying to fight it one-on-one. And the gap here is closed to less than 2 minutes. Coming into the elevator here, we've got the Scouter skips. Got it on Korenth's side. Let's see the second one.
Ooh, got
hung up. 1 for 2.
Beast Toss, I did see Korenth get that.
It's one of my favorite double techs. It does a lot of damage between those 2. It's unfortunate we can't use it on anybody. I know that you covered that during the Chrono fight, but it's huge single target damage, which can be nice for this spot coming up. Right, 120. Running into.
Yeah, it really depends. If you get into a boss that has high magic defense, you may see it, but with Blaze Kick and Uzi Punch, I don't think we're going to be seeing that right now.
One last fit check on Korenth's side before we get double Yakras.
All the way across the sky. So we got a triple scoop today of the original boss in this game.
Yeah, I was expecting the Rusty boys. We've been seeing a lot of Rust Tyranno here during this tournament. It is nice to see someone else, though, so.
Once again, not going to be doing much damage here. We actually may be seeing some beast tossing here. Yeah, we're seeing some beast tossing because Flare is really good at just doing some AoE splash. So get your tossers out. We're going to be throwing this Yakra back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and then up and splat.
AzureCale also going 1 for 2 on those scatter skips. And yeah, shout out to Smirk in chat for predicting the beast tossing. This is very close. I think that this Yakra fight will be another area we'll see AzureCale make up a few seconds.
First Rocker is down for Korenth's side. That's why you can kind of see how he's not doing any animations here. Oh, actually, I was wrong. Thought he was down, but uh-oh. Taking Yakra not seriously, and we got a double down from Yakra. Uh-oh, that is not good.
Yeah, and they're just forking up these iron balls.
Yep.
We have
a
synced
there. Race, everyone.
Yeah. Wow. Slight lead on Azure's side. Couple seconds now. We'll see how Korenth takes this on the second time around. Seeing beast tossing on AzureCale's side.
Seeing a lot more damage coming from that Robo Ribbon, giving the Sunshades effect of plus 25 base damage.
That Yakra has a family.
But God! It's Elo from the top rope with the steel chair! RKO out of nowhere!
Incredible. Yeah, just tossing the beasts, slamming them down. Who is going to finish first? Some tandem flares. I'm seeing there, we got to catch that tandem flare. Looks like AzureCale's Luca is doing just like a 250 more damage with those flares, and they finish first.
Yeah, but Korenth still in the ring, going down for this next Yakra. Unfortunately, counters back. Can't get the clear there. Getting a heal. Some support from the teammates here. Oh no! A spike! We got a spiker! Where did he get that nail from? Oh, goes in with the bat!
Yeah, this is a real hardcore match Korenth is having. No rules. One winner. Some more Daruing.
But in all seriousness, AzureCale going in to Lavos at 131, approximately 40 seconds.
Korenth taking down their Yakras.
But yeah, Korenth finally gets a pin.
Well, it's been 90 minutes of close race action. It all comes down to fighting a big spiky boy, going inside that spiky boy, fighting a like mech suit, and then also fighting the final form. An iron person match, if you will, here at the end.
3.5k from a Blaze Kick is great numbers. We're going to see probably about a 1.4. Yeah, that's right, because Kaiser Armor. Also, a much faster robo here. Another smack in. So we're about 6k at this point into Lavos. What we have for the obstacle, the good news is we resisted it on robo. That's the only one that matters because AzureCale has 2 amulets or omelets. And Korenth going to be entering the fight at 133.25.
Yeah, with 2 omelets, that's really a full breakfast, and you need a full breakfast when you're taking on Lavos to save the world.
But AzureCale gets through the fight at 133.15.
Yeah, they're like a boss. They're like a boss fight apart now. And once we get inside of the shell, what's nice is if we were to, we got that save point on the inside, so we don't have to do the. If we wipe to Lavos 1, we can crash the Epoch into him and get inside that way. But I don't think we'll be seeing that this time.
AzureCale starts up Lavos 2 at 134 even.
So what do we have to worry about in Lavos 2? This is the one I think that can be the first to really send things askew.
We have to see if we can do 4k to the left arm, do 5k to the right arm, and avoid the hiri, also known as the danger boomerangs, or the danger bananas.
Yeah, those bananas / boomerangs are sharp. They do a lot of damage. And I think Lavos 2 has a good habit for them of focusing on the most important person in your party at any given time.
Getting off a heal from AzureCale's side as Korenth is working his way through the Lavos fight. We've already gotten through 1 cycle from Lavos from Korenth. And the status resist is down on Robo, which is okay because Robo is just wearing a Robo ribbon. Did I miss-see that? Or, yep. A little missed input there from AzureCale, and we're getting bananas coming in.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it happens, you know, especially in the heat of a Lavos fight. And, you know, I just wanted to highlight, too, that our runners have no idea where the other one's at, so usually at this point, everyone feels behind at a race. And I think those little things can throw a runner off, but both of these runners are very talented and skilled, well practiced, so I think we're seeing good recovery and gonna start hitting the head.
Okay, second chance to see the obstacle. What is today? The only person that can hit is Robo, and it is Lock. So we have double lockout. That is not good. Luckily, we actually have heals. I see heals on AzureCale's side, so both Ayla and Robo will be healing themselves. Korenth is starting the fight at 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 20 seconds. Need to do around 10 to 12k to the head. Blaze Kick coming in. AzureCale has done about 5k damage to the head at this point. Korenth going in for the 3 individual techs, just like AzureCale did. Again, 4,000 for the left arm, 5,000 for the right arm.
Yeah, and it's when we can't get an arm down very fast is when this gets real out of control.
Oh no, with the slower characters, Korenth just took 2 boomerangs and is down.
Yeah, that's tough. But they're gonna check out their equipment, reassess real quick, and and head back in.
AzureCale through Lavos 2 at 137.15. All right, but AzureCale going to go for the menu glitch. Remember, wait for the screen to go fully black before you hit your menu. If you're learning at home, there is also an alternate flag that is not on for the seed called a free menu glitch. It widens that gap for you to click on, but wait for it to go fully black, fully black, fully black now. Perfect. Korenth restarting the fight.
Yeah, and being able to get that makes the transition between 2 and 3 a lot better. It's very scary missing that. So with Lavos 3, there's 2 ways we can kind of go about finishing this off. We've got, what are known as the middle bit strats. The middle bit is the dangerous one. You knock it down and then we can hit the right bit. There's also the left bit strats, which I think is a little bit faster to hit down the left one if you have strong physical attacks, but then it leaves, the middle guy to do all of their bad things. So if you're in AzureCale's place, what would be leaning you towards that middle bit approach?
Well, right now I'm very glad, right? But, 15 silver points is coming out. What do we have for status effects? Just 1 chaos. Lucky.
Not bad. I see on Korenth's side, we got arms down, healing up, and I imagine they're about to start wailing on the face of Lavos 2. AzureCale is starting to unleash their burst of offense against the right bit. I call that one the brain bit because it's the one that matters.
So we have about 5k in for Azure already. You need 20k to finish it off. Korenth is on his way through Lavos 2, still working it off. But he's gotten through the arms at this point. Another 8.5 and then another 5, so that's about 10k. So AzureCale is 2 ATBs away if he gets some good rolls here. But unfortunately, he is going to be needing to get some more MP off. He may just go for a center brick cleanup again. Just play it safe.
Taking a blaze kick at the brain bit. It does take a bit for its defense to come back up. Throwing a lapis. That silver stud has been paying dividends over on AzureCale's side.
So we are at 17 right now for AzureCale. He just needs one more blaze kick to finish it off.
Punch.
Unfortunately, did not get the healing back, and Shadow Doom Blaze from Korenth's side wipes out.
AzureCale is trying to punch out the last hit points here before the defense comes back up. A chaos and a poison.
Getting the flare in.
Is this gonna do it? Yeah, Korenth taking a tough wipe there.
Oh, just shy.
Oh.
He was less than 700 at that point.
Now, this is a kind of a tough spot because AzureCale needs to get that MP back up in order to take down middle bit, and middle bit could do something real bad. So
luckily, it's just going to be Darkstar, which always does just half your health here. That's what Dark Ages does, so that's not really a worry. But Ayla takes the death.
This is in the Lavos being Lavos territory here of it's still close enough that any wipe can bring us back to a tie race.
Let's see. We've gotten about 900 damage in. Second flare is going to do about 27. So that middle bit is still very far from being dead.
We're seeing Korenth bump the battle speed down. Having a slower team and having a couple of tries, I think that's a good adjustment.
This is not good at this point. Oh no. Going for the flare here, but if you kill the center bit, they're going to counter you.
How much hit points does that right bit have? Is it in the hundreds at this point? Is that
It's
kind
less
of...
than 1,000.
I think he's just trying to like, oh, there we go. It's anyone's race right now. The drama.
And as we say, we're back on Lavos 2 now for both runners. Rapidly approaching that 1 hour and 45 minute mark, and both runners are on the same boss.
Yeah, and again, they're, locked in the racing chamber. They don't know what's going on with the other runner, and, I think Korenth showing a lot of good perseverance in, coming right back at this. I'm sure that both runners have been peeking at the race room, and keep seeing that, oh, no finishes yet. There must be hope.
But Korenth already with one character down, with only one arm down. Bananas come back out. It's Robo. Robo survives.
Nice.
As for AzureCale, takes a status down on Luca. Luca did have an amulet, so no amulet going into this lock that we know is coming off of this obstacle.
Obstacle on Korenth's side. We'll see it on AzureCale's side shortly. They really are within seconds of each other in this fight right now.
Korenth doing 1.8 to the head.
Everyone got locked. Gonna have to take a turn, heal up.
3.5 for Korenth through the head. $5.3 and about 3.8 for AzureCale.
Yeah, they're like damage even right now.
About
AzureCale puts it out faster, but took that full party lock and had to heal up. Gonna see less damage out of Azure. Oh, a miss on the Uzi punch. That poison status is gonna reduce their damage output, so that'll slow things down just a little bit.
Korenth using his Mega Elixir right before the Shadow Doomblade. AzureCale rapidly approaching the Shadow Doomblade here. But gets the kill. Azure is through. Korenth is through.
Oh, wow.
We have synced runners going into the final boss.
I saw a speed tab got dropped off of Lavos 2. This is an incredible. All of these races in the later rounds have been very close, and I think it just shows that not much separates the high-level runners and the Jets of Time communities.
For more math on Twitch, here we go into the menu glitch. Azure gets it. Korenth gets it. This is lower semis. Game 1 of 3 between AzureCale and Korenth.
It all comes down to Lavos 3 behaving or not.
Azure with about 5k already to that center bit. Getting some protect strats out for Korenth. Makes perfect sense. Gotta play it safe.
Korenth going left bit here.
Korenth taking the down on Ayla. Getting a heal beam from AzureCale side. It's one blaze kick to kill the center bit. But the shout comes out first. 15 silver points results in only one chaos.
And helpfully removed by right bit. We saw a flare there from Korenth before the defense went down. I wonder if they're gonna like soften up middle bit a little bit.
1.4 on AzureCale's side. 1.5 on Korenth's side. 5k for Azure. $6.5 for Azure. 3.3 for Korenth. 10k for Azure. Shock coming out for Azure. Azure is about 7k if I remember right. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Korenth is about 7k. Azure is past 13.
Ooh, we got a chaos and a stop on that song spell on Korenth's side.
Will Azure play it safe here? No, goes in for more damage.
Yeah, I think having wiped once, we're not going to see any safe anymore.
1.7, it takes one more. So one more healing item onto Ayla to get that MP for a Blaze Kick is all you need. Maybe coming out with Flare Strats here to finish it off.
Oh, there we
Gets it
go. Incredible. Great finish. Yeah, get the GGs out there. Both runners really overcoming some tough Lavos obstacles. And we turn our attention to Korenth here, still putting up the good fight. And really not that far behind. Like, it did end up being a damage battle, really, at Lavos 3, and AzureCale had the edge there. But I think we're probably going to see, some more Uzi punches. I lost count on the Korenth damage count, but I think...
he just passed the halfway point, I believe, at this point.
We get a restore.
Because he lost a lot of time due to the double status. Actually, maybe a little closer than that, but... Because the flare is doing cleave damage, and we're joined by AzureCale. Korenth swinging in. Another triple kick going onto that right bit. Going to wrap this one up relatively soon. Only needs about less than 3,000 health.
Another Uzi punch. So, yeah, AzureCale GG while we're watching the end of Korenth's Lavos fight here. Smirk in chat wanted us to share that you were 33 hit points away from killing right bit on the first time. But you managed to get it on the second attempt and get the win. How you feeling coming off that seed?
Mad at myself. No, 33 is painful. we got there. I'm curious to look back. We're both in Lavos at the same time. I'm curious to see how the side-by-side went.
Azure, you may need to check your mic really quick. It sounds like you're kind of coming in really echoey.
Yeah, we're also joined by Korenth here. GG to you as well. So yeah, we did get some splits kind of. Korenth went in to their go mode ahead. AzureCale was able to make up time. The trip to WoW, the extra experience, and having that Robo Ribbon made those fights.
Oh, Robo Ribbon was on WoW.
A little bit faster.
Actually, it was a rare Genoa Salami play. Doing the Genodome.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, never mind. That's I was thinking about WoW. It was Genodome that led to the ribbon. Thank you there. And so that lead that Korenth built up started to evaporate through the go mode. But then AzureCale took a wipe at Lavos 3 that reset it back to neck and neck. And I know chat was on the edge of their seat, hearts pounding, waiting to see who would finish first. Amazing race. I think you both did really well.
I'm just pissed that I died to double Yakra.
Yeah, that was a big setback that kind of reset the race the first time.
I could have sworn I did enough damage to kill one of them, and I was like, "Oh, I'll get hit by a needle. One person will die, and it'll be fine." No, apparently, I was off by a couple hundred HP.
Wow. Once again, I get the pleasure of being in these races as they're so close and just emotionally draining to watch as we're watching you guys go sink and sink through this fight. But how did you feel, guys, getting that go mode about the hour mark in?
Oh, holy music. I felt that so long as there wasn't the Xenon go mode, or no, the Omen go mode on WoW and or Geno, I was probably okay. But I figured if it was, then it would be super close. I was also kind of concerned that it was going to be like all the go modes are going to be somehow hidden behind Prism Shard, and I don't know where Marl ended up. I don't know if she was in Cathedral or she was on Dactyl.
I also never found Marl.
I did check Frog's burrow just to see if she was there, because that would have made me feel a lot more comfortable. But once I didn't see her there, it's like, okay, well, I've still got Desert. I've still got Sun Palace. Those are quick checks. Either one of them could be go mode. Then I'll go start character hunting. But, yeah, the fact that I should have put one extra speed tab on Robo to prevent 3 different wipes of Lavos too. It's kind of gnawing at me right now.
That definitely does suck. For your answer for where Marley is, we left Marley at home, like usual.
Okay.
But with that, just like, oh my gosh, the seed just kept giving and taking and giving and taking from you guys. Good news is bosses weren't that terrible for you guys today. Other than Dalton being in Dalton Cave for the first time in a while.
And Dalton there isn't too bad, particularly since Robo had Uzi Punch, and we got we had one of the arm. Did we already have the Terror Arm by then?
I ended up with a big hand for most of the fights.
Okay. Yeah, I got a Terror Arm plus real early. Never got to use the plus part of it because I don't think Robo ever basic auto attacked for the rest of the seed, but.
Yeah, with the Team Omega Flare available, I was like, or somewhere, I was like, I wonder if we can relive the Blue Rock experience with Korenth.
Yeah.
But I never found Magus either.
Magus is on Dactyl Nest.
Okay.
Only known by process of elimination. I didn't go,
Yeah.
I didn't go grab him, but that was a tight seed, and then my controller spazzed out 20 minutes into the run. I have no idea what happened there.
Yeah, I looked over after finishing Hecarim's Cave. I'm like, you good? In
Yeah.
the race time chat.
No, I had to reset my game 3 times to get it to pick up my controller after I unplugged and replugged in the USB.
Which was weird. You were doing practice before, so I should have.
Yeah. No, after I did the hard reset out of Xenon Bridge, my controller started just buzzing. I didn't even know my controller had a rumble feature because I've got one of those 8-bit-o things, and I didn't know it had a rumble feature. But it just starts buzzing. I'm like, oh, that's not good. I don't want to have a hand massage for the next hour and a half. And then all of a sudden it started eating inputs, and I couldn't go indoors.
You don't need to go indoors. You just need to go in the epoch.
No, I like the A button did not work. So you like press A to enter door, cannot do.
Yeah, what a seed! I can't wait to watch that finish.
Yeah.
Very kind in gear, at least for me. Very
Yes.
kind in text because I never went and unlocked magic.
Neither did I. I wish I. Well, I say I wish I had. It would have been nice for Lavos 3 to have Mega Bomb so that Luca could do something.
I was just blaze kicking.
Yeah, that had been my intention, but the way that the revive situation ended up, because I ended up dumping an attack on Robo, trying to kill the center bit to prevent the random spell status, which left the center bit with like 48 or 400 HP. Put me off sync, and then all of a sudden I had to like spend turns healing and reviving, and that just became a mess.
Yeah. At least Lavos did Lavos things to both of us.
Yes, Lavos most decidedly did Lavos things.
I am nervous for tomorrow.
I am too.
Same time.
I am also very worried that they're going to give us Robo again, because I have a thing that I wanted to pull out, but I didn't want to pull it out in an elimination match.
Mm-hmm.
But I might have to.
Well, you piqued my curiosity.
Yeah, we'll have to tune in less than 24 hours for match 2.
22 hours.
22 hours.
So I do want to ask you really quick for some final thoughts. First from Korenth, if that's all right.
Yeah, no, I think it was a good seed. Sounded like we had fairly similar routing. So, other than, well, I say we had similar. You did do the Woe and Geno play. I thought about going and doing it since we had Flare early, but I really dislike doing the Woe and Geno early when you only need one item for go mode. Did like finding the Silver Stud in the desert, Fiona's Shrine. That helped a lot. I was most decidedly willing to dump 40,000 gold into that.
I also did that.
But yeah, no, it was a good scene. Look forward to tomorrow.
AzureCale?
I'm continuing to enjoy the early Geno play. I come out of it feeling pretty strong as long as I can go into it and survive it. Robo's definitely grown on me. He's a well-rounded character, and yeah. Hopefully tomorrow we get to see another go mode to entertain the masses and a couple more heart attacks for everybody.
And for my co-commentator today, Fitz.
Yeah, I think it was a great race. We saw high level execution out of both racers, and I think my big takeaway is that it's always good to never think you're out of the race, because it's never over until it's actually over. So I think both runners did an excellent job of overcoming obstacles, untimely wipes, and persevering for a great show for everyone that was watching.
So for me, I gotta say thank you once again for our runners. Thank you for the Speed Gaming family of networks. Please, if you have not yet, go follow our runners. And I do have some great news. If you like Chrono Trigger, there's going to be more of it tomorrow. Not just one, but 2 races on the Speed Gaming family of networks. One at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time between I'm All N and Zelfer. That is the rubber match. So that's going to be game 3 for them. And then we have Korenth and AzureCale game 2 at 6 p.m. Eastern. So plenty of running of the Chrono Trigger for tomorrow. So if you're like me, who likes leaving trash at home and fueling up your epoch, get ready tomorrow for some more fantastic Chrono Trigger hype. And everyone, please follow our runners, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Good night.